about 40%, 40 to 50% of people believe that cryptocurrency is an inflation hedge. Now, I know you don't love the idea of cryptos, but if the market, and I'm trying to understand this broadly, right? Because if the market is expecting large inflation, it's just odd that bonds are going down, the dollar's going up, and cryptos are falling. Like, those three things are all literally doing the opposite of what should be happening if we were to expect high inflation. Are they just all wrong?
Yeah. Well, Bitcoin's a little bit different than those assets. And first of all, Bitcoin is only an inflation hedge to the extent that, okay, there's a limited supply of Bitcoin, 21 million. There's an unlimited supply of dollars. So if we keep printing dollars and the demand for Bitcoin in real terms remains constant, then the price of Bitcoin should go up because the supply of Bitcoin has now decreased relative to the supply of dollars. But the problem with Bitcoin, and the reason it's not an inflation hedge in the sense that another commodity would be an inflation hedge like gold or, you know, a real asset like real estate or stocks, is because there's no actual value in Bitcoin. It's not another good or commodity or asset. So it has no relationship to any other asset that you may want to buy in the future. So you can't hedge your purchasing power by storing it in Bitcoin, because Bitcoin may have no purchasing power, because nobody knows if anybody's going to actually want Bitcoin in the future. I mean, we know they want them now because they think they're going to get rich. But if people stop thinking that Bitcoin is, you know, a guaranteed ticket to riches, there may not be any demand for it. The other problem is that there is a massive supply of cryptocurrencies. The inflation in cryptocurrencies is bigger than the inflation in dollars as far as the supply. We almost have 11,000 cryptocurrencies now that you can choose from. And actually, the supply of Bitcoin now, even though it's capped at 21 million, I mean, they're inflating them. They're mining Bitcoin every day or solving math problems to create them. So there is more Bitcoin being introduced into the ecosystem, and people have to be there to buy it. If they don't want to buy it, the price is going to fall. And so I think that, you know, the Bitcoin bubble, there's a very good chance. I mean, obviously not 100%, right? I mean, I thought that 20,000 was the peak, although I knew it might not be, and it wasn't. We got to 65,000. So now I think that's the peak. And I think the odds that that's the peak are probably somewhat greater than the odds that 20,000 were. I don't know. But I think that if we crack this next, you know, move down and we go back, you know, below 20,000, maybe below 10,000, you know, it'll be very, very hard for Bitcoin to ever make a new high, I think. And then I think, you know, everybody bails on it. It's going to have too many holes. Too many people have been burned. I think the institutions will be gone for good. Those that decided to play are going to lick their wounds and leave. Those who dodged a bullet are going to be glad that they never bought it. But you're not going to have that FOMO where people are like, oh my God, I better buy it or I'm going to be left in the dust. Everybody's going to get rich but me. I'm going to get fired if I don't buy Bitcoin because I'm going to underperform. I mean, all that kind of FOMO stuff is going to go away after this next crash. And but people, yeah.
Well, this blew my mind. Okay, so and I'm not trying to pat myself on the back for, on this at all, but I want to ask you why, because it's really weird. In January, I made this prediction that potentially, because of people's fear about inflation, Bitcoin would peak on April 13th and May 12th. Those were CPI release days. Bitcoin peaked on those 2 days. It's really, really weird. And so I want to know, what do you think that obsession is? Why is there such this weird correlation? Why would that happen?
Like I didn't see anything happen to Bitcoin today with the CPI. I think
It fell
kind
a
of
little
like
bit, yeah.
it was about the same. Really, very little reaction. I was actually watching the market. There was an immediate reaction in gold and the dollar. There really wasn't a reaction at all in Bitcoin. But maybe on those other days there might have been. But to me, I think the peak in Bitcoin may have more closely correlated with Elon Musk hosting Saturday Night Live.
Okay, yeah.
the inflation numbers, because this is all about tweeting and memeing, and there's no substance behind any of this. It's all hype, and the hype is gone. I think look at the Google search terms now. I mean, people are no longer looking for Bitcoin because the air's coming out of the bubble. The volumes are drying up. You still have the diehards that are hodling, and they're holding and hoping. But I mean, I would have to say that at this point in time, all the people, or almost all the people, who want to buy Bitcoin have bought it. And the people who decided not to buy it don't want to buy it. I don't think there's like this whole world that it's like dying to buy Bitcoin. Why wouldn't they have already done it? I mean, it's not like they don't know about it. I mean, it's all over the place. That's all anybody talks about. So I think, everybody's on board. Even Tom Brady joined in and got laser eyes. And you got, I mean, it's so anybody who thinks they're getting in on the ground. I mean, so if I was interested in Bitcoin and wanted to buy it, which I don't, I would wait for a big collapse. I would wait for nobody to be talking about it. I would wait for CNBC to take the bug off their television like they did last time. They initially put it up there when Bitcoin ran up to 20,000. And then when it crashed, they quietly took it away and never spoke about it again until it was like 20,000 again, right? So wait until, because right now, every guest that comes on the show is asked about Bitcoin. Doesn't matter who they are, what their background is, they get a Bitcoin question, right? It's a must thing. So wait till they haven't talked about it for a month or two. Like nobody has mentioned it.
Wow.
The price will be, but the problem is if the price is really, really low, I mean, does anybody actually want it? I mean, maybe not. But this is certainly not the time to be buying a momentum asset that doesn't pay a dividend, doesn't have any income. It's all based on price, and you've got everybody in there. And then look at the chart. I mean, the chart looks horrible as far as the downside risk. I mean, the thing could fall through the floor here. It's got this gigantic head and shoulders. I mean, you don't have to be like a top technician to see this thing. And, it's a long way down from the neckline.